This 26 Sports and CCTV high school basketball presentation is presented by Cadillac Casting Incorporated.
And welcome back to Cadillac High School. Jay Simon alongside Kevin Gregory. 56-48 our final here in Cadillac as the Vikings come back and defeat the Essexville Garber Dukes. And what a comeback it was. They trailed 30-19 at the half, but their defense really sparked them in that second half, got some better looks, and they just rolled. It was, to quote a very famous book, a tale of two halves in this one.
It really was, and all the things we talked about, we watched happen, right? We wanted Cadillac to take care of the ball. I don't remember seeing more than one turnover where they threw it to Cooper when he wasn't looking. They finished at the rim. I don't remember seeing too many missed layups without getting an offensive rebound and a putback. So under control, finishing at the rim, taking quality looks again, and keeping turnovers at bay.
Yeah, just did a really fine job in that second half. Of course, got to mention Spencer Mahar, the standout junior point guard who I'm pretty sure you've got a man crush on now. That was it was high praise when you said he reminded you of you in your youth. I've never heard you say that about anybody else. Unfortunately, tweaked his ankle late in the third quarter, tried to come back early in the fourth, but ended up going to the bench, took the shoe off, and had ice on it for the rest of the game. The Viking comeback had started before that, but you get the impression that with Mahar on the floor, there might have been an opportunity for them to kind of weather that storm. Mm-hmm. But without him, it just, not to say that they fell apart per se, but it just didn't look like they had quite the same heart for it when their point guard went out.
Yeah, I mean, I played with a chip on my shoulder, and I broadcast with a chip on my shoulder. I don't give credit out very easily, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching that young man play. He did it the right way. He played hard. He played out of control. He saw the court extremely well. He knocked down some outside shots. He facilitated everything that Essexville was doing. So when Cadillac makes the run, even though he was still in the game, you got to believe that if you're Essexville and you have a calming presence point guard like that, listen, you're going to go on the road to a good team. You're going to take some shots, but not having your floor leader to weather that storm, collect the troops, and maybe go on a 7-8 point run of your own to kind of combat that, push it back up to close to double digits. Without having that, really tough for Essexville to overcome Cadillac's flurry.
Yeah, and our well wishes to that young man. Hopefully that's not a serious ankle injury and he'll be back. Still led his team with 14 points. He had 12 in the first half, including 2 triples, had a bucket early in the third, and then, of course, missed most of the rest of the second half after that. Jacob Denham hit a couple of late threes in the fourth quarter as he tried to help the Dukes come back. He finishes with 12 points. Jaden Scherzer, the big man in the middle, finishes with 9. Parker Yachik with 8. Dylan McFarland had a 3, and Manny Jopic with a bucket to round out the scoring for the Dukes, who just go 3 of 3 from the line. All 3 of those free throws coming in the second quarter. Did not get to the line at all the rest of the game. Mildly surprising to you?
A little bit, yeah, because they ran that weave well, and in the first half they were getting a lot of penetration off of that, and they were getting wide open layups. Cadillac made the adjustment, thank you, and they started switching that little weave up top, really took away a lot of those drives, and so they shot a lot of outside shots. You're not going to get to the line shooting a lot of outside shots.
Meanwhile, for the Vikings, they were paced by Keegan Brooks, who goes for 15, including 10 in the second half. Cooper Benson finishes with 12, including a very key 5 of 7 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter to help ice this one. And then Aiden Raphael comes off the bench, hits 2 triples, and finishes with 10 points as the Vikings get 3 in double figures in this game. Raphael really gave him a spark. Noah Bartlett had 6 points off the bench. Vinny Genema finishes with 4. Jacob Kahani with 5, including one of the prettiest little spin moves on the baseline you'll ever see from a man that size. And then Charlie Runstrom and Tanner Cochran both finished with a bucket apiece for the Vikings, who go 8 of 12 from the line, all in the second half. It was just a really weird game as far as free throws go.
Yeah. Offensively for Cadillac, when I see 8 guys on the score sheet getting points, whether it's 2, 4, 6, whatever it is, you got a lot of guys contributing a little bit. I mean, that just bodes well for a team who in the last couple of years may have struggled a little bit offensively, put a lot of points on the board. That's huge.
Well, you look at these Dukes, and Coach Chris Watts telling us when we talked to him pregame that, you know, he looks at Coach Benzenberg and the program that Coach McDonald built before Coach Benzenberg that he's taking along here too as well. They both started at their programs the same year. That year in 15 when they met in the quarterfinals was the first year for both those head coaches. And Coach Watts telling us, you know, it's a program he wants to emulate. He wants the same kind of thing for his Dukes. He wants that toughness. He wants that balanced scoring. Last year, he said that Jacob Denham leading them with nearly 18 points a game wasn't quite what they wanted. They got a little more balanced scoring tonight. They had double figures from 2, nearly 3 players. But the Vikings doing exactly what the Vikings need to do with this type of lineup. 3 players in double figures. And when you look at the Vikings now at 5-3, 1-1 in the conference, you look ahead, you've got Tip Baker still yet to come back. You got Cale Mickelson on the bench tonight, who's given them a spark as well, both offensively and defensively. You got Maddox Hoagland on the bench, who we're not sure if he's going to be back. I've not heard the extent of his injury and what that bodes for him. But when they get at least 2 of those 3 back, it bodes very well for them going forward. It doesn't necessarily change the dynamic so much, but it allows Keegan Brooks, with Baker on the floor, it allows Keegan Brooks to be more of that shooter, and because Baker's such a good point guard. What kind of things do you expect from Cadillac going forward?
Yeah, so a couple of things with that. It just gives you more options, right? And if you have 8 guys on the score sheet right now and 2 or 3 more guys coming in to insert that, you stay fresher. You play a little harder, a little longer. Your rotation, substitution-wise, gets a little bit deeper. You can get the right people in their more comfort spot to give them better chance at success. And so, add 6 or 8 more points for each of those guys, add a couple more defensive stops, add a few more rebounds, and it all equates to just a sound deep. It becomes a deep Cadillac team.
Yeah, absolutely. As mentioned, Vikings move to 5-3 on the season. The Dukes fall to 6-3, and they will continue on. Obviously, both teams unlikely to see each other until deeper in the playoffs, but it'll be interesting to see if either team can make any kind of run as they try to get back to that quarterfinal level in Class B. That's going to about do it for us. Want to make sure we thank our presenting sponsor, Cadillac Casting Incorporated, for their support of these broadcasts, as well as Cadillac Tire, Pizza Plus, and Napa Auto Parts, with locations in Lake City, Cadillac, and Big Rapids. For our camera crew, Wyatt Van Dynen, Bailey Hoover, and Gabriel Long. For Madam Director, Heather Stilson, and also doing graphics in the truck for Kevin Gregory, I'm Jay Simon. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. We'll see you next time here on My News 26 and CCTV. Good night.